babble about books. My name is Tavia, and today you're joining me for my monthly TBR game, Spiraling Out of Books. Before we get into it, we need to kind of talk about last month. So I know last month I technically ended on a book haul, but with doing 5, we've got company today. My cat, she's very needy today, so I apologize. She's just gonna be roaming around my lap and knocking over books. So if I move a lot, it's just to move her out of my way. Anyways, so I technically landed on a book haul last month, but with rolling 5 rolls now and having 12, the 70 spaces just wasn't enough, and I was getting a book haul almost every 2 months, which 1, not good for my bank account, and 2, doesn't help the fact that I'm trying to read all the books that I own. So I just continued rolling as if I didn't hit a book haul. And in this past month, I created a new board game. Well, not a new board game, just a new board that is actually a spiral. So we start right here and we spiral towards the middle, which is a book haul, and there is 255 spaces on this. So quite a bit bigger. Will give me some time to save up money for books and make it that much harder and hopefully that much easier to get through the books I own before I buy more books. So I am recording this video a little early, so I do have 3-4 more days left of the month, but so far this month I have started and almost finished 16 books. So we're gonna go over the books that I have read, and I'm gonna kind of go in the order that I read and finished them. So I don't physically own this book, but I did read, I guess I could pull it up because I read all of them on Scribd, so if I'm not able to insert a picture, I have yet to teach myself how to do that. I will one of these days eventually teach myself how to do that so I don't have to continue to use my phone. Okay, so the first book I read and finished this month was, no, okay, I'm going to try and just pop up photos, and if not, I apologize, you'll just have to hear what I read. So the first book I read and finished this month was The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish. It basically is a memoir about her life, and I thought it was hilarious. I laughed so much through it. I think I'm finding that I really enjoy memoirs. So basically it's just about Tiffany Haddish's life, you know, the troubles she went through to get where she is now, how she kind of started from the bottom, and, you know, her life now and everything like that. So it was really, really good. I can't go into too much detail without spoiling the book, but I highly recommend it if you like her. I thought it was hilarious and enjoyed it. The second book I read and finished was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I know that I rolled a YA fantasy for my TBR last month, and I said I was going to read this one, and then I realized that I didn't actually own this prior to filming the video, so technically it wasn't on my TBR, so I'm not counting it as my YA fantasy for this month, but I did listen to this month and finished it. I loved it. I had to take a break from finishing the series this month because the end of this book just made me so mad. But yeah, I listened to this, finished and read it this month, and I really enjoy it. It's about Feyre, who ended up killing a wolf in the woods and gets whisked off to this land, and then there's war and death and love, and it's just adorable. The third book I read and finished this month was She Ready, which was also a Tiffany Haddish book. It's just an audiobook, about 30 minutes long, and it's just some of her skits. So I listened to that one day at work. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I mean, nothing too high-pitched. Really was just a little bit of her skits thrown into an audiobook. And then the third book I read and finished was The Occult book, A Chronological Journey from Alchemy to Wicca by John Michael Greer. This I read for this was on my TBR for my 5th roll, which was a nonfiction. So I did listen to this while I worked on my TBR board game. It was really good, very interesting. I love the occult, and that stuff has always just really interested me. and it's read very much like a textbook, but I kind of enjoyed that. It also was a nonfiction, so no shock there. But basically it's just, you know, the journey from alchemy and Wicca and all of that stuff, because Wicca's new age, alchemy's more old, it's all about the occult. I also love this edition. It's beautiful. So yeah, I read and finished this and I enjoyed it. The fifth book I read this month was called The Beautiful Stories of Life, 6 Greek Myths Retold by Cynthia Rylant. I listened to that at work one day. It was good. We just heard 6 different Greek myths retold. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's illustrated, but I listened to it, so I wasn't able to see the illustrations. So once I'm able to buy books, that is on my list of books to buy, because I want to see the illustrations, and I like Greek retellings. So yeah. The next book, number 6, that I listened to and finished is Fearless, written by Mandy Gonzalez. It was a middle grade, and it basically it's about a girl who goes to New York and Broadway, and she's in a musical, and there's some spooky stuff going on, and her friends have to figure out what's happening. And yeah, it was good. There was interludes in it that I found really weird, but other than that, I enjoyed it. I used to do musicals in high school, so it was very nostalgic for me. But yeah, it was a good book. I recommend it. She has a series. The 7th book I read and finished this month, well, listened to and finished this month, was A Man Called Uve by Frederick Bachman. Absolutely love this book. It is in my top 5 favorite books. It was really hard. The first like 5 chapters I almost DNF'd it, but I was kind of like, everyone is raging about this, let me just push through a little bit more. I was on a road trip, so I couldn't really I don't use my phone when I drive, so I couldn't really stop it while I was driving, and so I was kind of forced to listen to it until I was able to pull off into a gas station. But I'm happy I was able to, you know, push through, because I absolutely enjoyed it. And I just found out there's a movie, which I'm super excited to watch. But yeah, basically it's about an old guy named Uve, and you know, I don't want to say too much because I really want people to read it, and I really don't know what are spoilers or not, because I didn't read the synopsis. I just know it was around BookTube, and it was on Scribd, and I was going on a road trip, so I needed something to listen to. So yeah, highly recommend it. It's definitely my top 5 favorite books. It doesn't beat Salt to the Sea by Rita Sepetys, but it comes pretty close. And there are different genres, so maybe that's why it doesn't bump it out of its place, but it's definitely right beneath that. Okay, and then the next book I read and finished was The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, which was one of my roles for my TBR for romance. So I did listen to a majority of this on Scribd, and then I did read the rest of this on my vacation that I took this month. But yeah, it's basically about a bride and groom get sick, so they send their siblings on their honeymoon, and then the siblings fall in love. And it was beautiful, and I loved it. It was adorable and super, super cheesy and romantic. I highly recommend it, and I can't wait to pick up more books by her. But yeah, so the 8th book I read and finished, The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Okay, and then the next book that I listened to and finished was The Book of Lost Names by Christian Harmel. It's basically about a girl named Ava and her life in France during World War II and being Jewish, and her heroic tale. Again, the name of the book is The Book of Lost Names. Absolutely loved it. It was a really, really good book. I highly recommend it. I believe it is a non-fiction or a historical fiction. Yeah, so I read it. I enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. Next book I listened to just because I was at work, and it's just easier, and now that I have Scribd, I can listen to books at work. I listened to The Date Swap by Lydia Westing. Wasn't amazing, wasn't horrible. It definitely was a very insta-lovey book, which I'm not a huge fan of, but for how long the book is, it kind of makes sense that it kind of have to be like insta-lovey. But yeah, it was really, really good. I enjoyed it. Basically, these two people meet in an airport. They're going to the same island for a wedding. They don't have dates, and their families are, you know, kind of pressuring them to date. So they were like, let's be each other's dates so we don't have to tell our families that we're still single and don't have a date for the wedding. So yeah, I listened to that. And then I have officially lost count of where I'm at. I think I'm on 11 of the books that I've read this month. I read Witches of New Orleans by Bridget Dellery, and basically it's about these 5 witches in a coven in New Orleans and their love stories. So each chapter is one of the witches and in the coven and their respective partners and kind of their love stories. It's very, very short, very, very simple and sweet. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it if you're able to pick up the audiobook. It was good, or even if you just want to pick it up physically, I highly recommend it. But yeah, I've read and finished that this month. Now on to the books that I have started but not finished yet, but I definitely plan on finishing them. I've got a game plan, and of course I'm able to roll 1 book over from my TBR because at this point I've only read 2 out of the 5, even though I've read and finished like 12 books. Yeah, that was correct, 12 books. Yay me, I can do math. Okay, so a book I have to finish this month is Meet Me in Paradise by Libby Hubshire, or I have to pull from my punishment jar, which will be featured in my first vlog if I don't finish this. I'm a little over halfway. I've got a couple days. I'm definitely going to finish this month. This will be finished this month. And if that means I have to quit my job for the next 3 days to sit and just read this book, it'll happen because I'm not getting rid of any books. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's super, super cute. Basically, these sisters are supposed to go on a sisters trip to Saba, and one of the sisters dips the other one so she can live her life. And it's super, super cute. The love interest at this moment, his name is Lucas, and it's just super, super cute and kind of like finding yourself type book. I'm really, really enjoying it, so I'm definitely plan on picking this up and hopefully finishing this tonight, if not tomorrow, but this will be finished and completed before the 1st. Okay, and now books that are actually on my TBR for this month, because, you know, why would I read the books that I'm supposed to read? I have got Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I am pretty much nearly done with this. I'm listening to it just because I have already read it, so it's a reread. But this was for my romance roll. Very nostalgic, and it's really weird and funny because there's some parts that I completely forgot about that are in the book that aren't in the movies, and I mean, clearly I've rewatched the movies, you know, quite a bit, so when I think of the book I think more of the movies than I do the actual book. But yeah, I'm almost done with this. I will definitely be finishing it this month because I'm listening to it, and I listen to it at work. So yeah, Twilight, enjoying it, very nostalgic. Not the best written book, but you know, and I don't feel like I have to go into what it's about. It's Twilight, everybody knows it. Okay, and then for my middle grade role for this month I picked up Arushat and the Song of Death. I am over halfway done with it. I will be finishing it. It's a middle grade. It's super, super quick and easy to fly through, and I know I've been reading it all month. It's been featured, we'll go with featured, on my Instagram like 4 or 5 times. But yeah, I will definitely be finishing this because I can easily fly through it. I just have to force myself to sit down and read it, which is the hardest part, is forcing myself to sit down and read. Because with audiobooks, I can be doing so many other things, but I don't. I own it, so why would I pay for it on Audible if I physically own it? But yeah, I'll be finishing this month for sure. So these 2 books I definitely will be finishing before the 1st. So yeah, and like I said, I am able to roll over 1 book from my TBR. And so for my YA fantasy, because I had bought this back in May, June, yeah, for Once Upon a Book Club, I paid for this back in May, but it doesn't ship out till the end of June. So I got Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews, which I am picking up for my YA fantasy role. I am only 20 pages in, so I most likely will have to roll this into next month, but hopefully I'll be able to finish it this month. If not, it'll be a rollover, and you'll see that in my vlog. But yeah, I'm only 18 pages in, so I really can't say anything about it because I really know nothing. But the 18 pages I've read are great, and I'm very excited to continue to read it because goddesses and gods in it. So yeah, this is the last book that I have started this month, so that is 16 books I have started in this month. So yeah, if anything, this will be a rollover, but hopefully I'll be able to finish it because I really hate rolling books over because it makes my reading journal look a little wonky, but that's just me being particular about stuff. But yeah, the 18 pages I've read are great. Okay, we're gonna start on 72. We're gonna do our first roll, which is a 1 for middle grade. Okay, so for roll number 1, I got middle grade, and for that I am picking up Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Elston. I have no idea what it's about, except everyone on BookTube has been, ooh, I actually haven't seen it. It's one of the books I just bought in my last book haul, so I actually haven't seen what it looks like. Anyways, I really don't know what it's about. I think she has to go and save her brother or brothers or something, but it was all over BookTube, and so I had to pick it up, and it falls with the Buzzwordathon, which is time of day, Amari and the Night Brothers, so I will be reading this within the first week of August. Roll number 2. We've got an 8 for historical fiction. Rule number 2 was historical fiction, and I am finally jumping the hurdle and picking up Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I know absolutely nothing about this book, except there's a marsh girl, a dead body, and I think there's also love in it. Not 100% sure. I don't honestly know why I'm so actively avoiding anything about this book, but I am. I really want to go into it blind. Don't ask me why. But that's just how I am right now. Well, how I've been since I heard about it a couple years back. But yeah, I am finally gonna read it. August is my birthday month, so I'm gonna treat myself and read a book that scares me. I don't know why it scares me. I'm really excited to read it, but yeah, I will be picking up Where the Crawdads Sing for roll number 2, historical fiction. Roll number 3. We've got a 6 for romance. Okay, and roll number 3 was romance. My dice really trying to nudge me into, I don't know, looking into relationships or something, because this is the 3rd time I've rolled romance in the past 2 months. And for that, I am finally picking up The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. All I really know about it is these people work at a radio station, kind of to save their radio station. They create a segment called The X Talk, and they have to pretend they're exes. I think it's a hate to love romance. I'm not 100% sure, but out of the very small selection of romance I have, this one sounded the most interesting to me. So for roll number 3, romance, I will be picking up The X Talk. Roll number 4. We've got a 9 for a graphic novel. Okay, and rule number 4 was graphic novel, and for that I am picking up Monstrous, Volume 1 Awakening. I am not going to try and pronounce their names because I know I'm going to butcher it, so I apologize. I also don't know anything about what this is about, but I know it's all over BookTube. Well, my favorite BookTubers have read it, and are reading the series, and I'm trying to figure out if I really like graphic novels or not, so I figured maybe picking up a series that is widely loved may be good for me. So yeah, for my graphic novel, I am picking up Monstrous. And rule number 5. We've got an 11 for mystery thriller. Okay, and that leaves us on space 107 for August. And last but not least, rule number 5, I rolled mystery thriller, and for that I'm picking up The Strings of Murder, a novel by Oscar de Morel. Basically, it's a murder mystery book. I believe it's Shakespeare-inspired murder or Phantom of the Opera, something like that. I can't remember exactly what, but basically this book series, it is a series, follows kind of like a Sherlock Holmes inspired type novel where you have an inspector, and it's like a play on some classic literatures, I believe, if I remember correctly. But I really don't like knowing too much about my mystery thrillers or any books that I read. If you haven't noticed, I never know what they're about. I just cover by and title by, because titles are interesting. I picked this up because of the name, The Strings of Murder. Sorry, I actually picked up like the second book in the series, like A Mask of Shadows, and then I realized it was a series, so I had to pick up the first one, which is The String of Murders. So I don't know what this one's about, but yeah. So for rule number 5, I did mystery thriller, and I am reading The Strings of Murder by Oscar de Morel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then I am participating in JD Ray Reid's Polarathon, The Meltdown, and for that I am picking up Narnia. I'm not reading this whole thing because this is all of the books, but I will be reading the first 2 books in the series, The Magician's Nephew and then The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So it is on the 28th to the 29th of August. So yeah, I will be picking this up for that readathon. That's all the books I will be reading this month, and probably many, many more with me having Scribd now and being able to listen to a lot of books. I also need to read Witch Shadows still. I have that, and I just need to sit down and finally listen to it. So I think I'll be doing that the first week or so of August. I'm not going to start it this month just because I've got 4 of the books that I want to finish as well. But yeah, that's kind of my reading plans, and that is my August TBR. I think this will be the last time you'll be seeing my shelves full. I move September 1st, so I'm going to start packing up my books. So I already did my rolls for September, my 5 rolls, and got my books picked up so I can keep those out and film the video for that later in the month. But yeah, I think these are the last times you're going to see this set up because I'm going to be moving. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye!